Hello everybody! So today I'm going to be doing a mukbang of some good old buldak noodles. And this one is specifically the rosé flavor, so it will actually be my first time trying it. So just for you to see, there's some onion in there, some sausage, some egg, and some dumplings as well. And then just here on the side I have two lonely chicken wings that I'll be having. Then I just have some kimchi, some soy sauce to dip the dumplings, and yeah, a can of soda. So yeah, let's get started. And today I thought that while I eat with you, I will do a very long-awaited video. At least I think for me it is. If any of you who are watching used to watch me in the past when I was K-pop react / posting covers channel, then I think this will be right up your alley. But what I thought I would talk about today is my experience visiting South Korea. I stayed there for 5 months, for context, while I was studying at university. But yeah, before we talk any further, I'm just going to try this. It's very good. It's very hard to describe rosé flavor because it's like spicy but tastes somehow creamy. There's beef and vegetables inside. But yeah, it tastes creamy. And I think they do it with they add cream to it. And there's also like a faint sausagey flavor as well. It's so good. So yes, as I was saying, back in 2017, I went to South Korea for 5 months as an exchange student. And there are so many videos at this point online of people talking about their experience in South Korea, what it was like for them. Some kimchi. My cat is in the background trying to get some. No. You don't need that. No. Korean food is such a good combination of flavors. You have to clean your bones properly. So yeah, I thought that I would kind of talk about things that are a little bit smaller things and maybe that are not that often spoken about. So certain little things I encountered or saw while I was there that I could share about with you. This is tanmuji, which is pickled radish. So let's open this soda first. It's cans, lemon and lime, sparkling alpine water with real fruit. Let's open it. So I just wrote a list of these things on my phone. So that's why I'll be looking at it. So first thing, your self-esteem will increase if you go to Korea. Now, that is my personal experience. Of course, I cannot speak for everyone. But the reason I say that is because let's say that if in, I don't know, wherever you live, you know, where it's mostly Caucasian looking people, let's say you're like a 6. So yeah, maybe perhaps you don't always feel the most beautiful, but if you go to Korea, you're automatically kind of elevated in people's eyes because you are a foreigner. You look very different. You stand out immediately. Now, this comes from someone who doesn't like being the center of attention. So it doesn't mean like everybody will just suddenly be staring at you everywhere. But I think definitely you will feel a positive effect on your confidence. I certainly did. Second thing, now again, I don't know if this will apply to you, but you will probably be taller than most people. Now, I say that because I am 178 centimeters or 5'11", I think. So I'm generally tall no matter where I am. But certainly in Korea, I did sometimes feel like a giant. And I think especially if you're going to Korea as a tall girl, and you're wanting to maybe date a Korean guy, I would say it's more of a struggle to find a guy who will be at least as tall as you. Again, this is coming from a tall girl. If you're on the shorter side, I don't think you'll have any problems. But yeah, for me it was a bit tough. And again, if you are taller, but you don't care about height, good for you. It won't be a problem then. But if you do, there's just one thing to know. Next up. Yeah, so this is, I think this is not a secret for anybody. I think people know this, especially if you are into like Korean culture and so on. But, oops, I just dropped food on my mic. If you go to Korea, you will be really surprised to realize how efficient things can actually be. And what I mean by that is things are just so technologically advanced that so many things just really work. And technology there really is to make your life easier. Like small things like how fast the Wi-Fi is, how easy it is to like rent a taxi through an app, you know. It's just very, it makes you realize how convenient things can be. And I would say that's a con because unless you are staying there to live, you will eventually go back to your country where things are not that way, and then you'll just feel bitter about it. I say that from personal experience. This is so good. Next point. Finding clothes will in some cases be harder for you, but it will also be cheaper. I say this because, again, as a Caucasian person going to South Korea, there's a chance you'll be bigger than the average Korean girl. That doesn't mean you're fat or big, it just means that you don't fit their skinny frame that a lot of Korean women have. And it can be harder to find your specific size and things. Also, when it comes to shoes, when it comes to shoes as well, because I'm a size 41, which is quite big. So I don't think I would be able to find any shoes there unless like I really, really looked hard. But they also have so many stores where they sell like one size fits all type of clothing, which is super cheap. And I mean, I am a big girl, I am a tall girl, but I was able to find things for myself that fit me just fine and, you know, didn't look like I'm trying to squeeze into something that doesn't fit me. And it will be super stylish and will also save you a lot of money. Okay, next up. Your F-boy radar is going to really develop and grow while you're in South Korea. Now, the reason I say that, as you might know, Korea still is very much a homogenous society. Older generations still certainly prefer their children to marry a Korean. So it's hard, I would say, to distinguish in the beginning if somebody wants to go out with you or someone wants to date you because they genuinely are interested in you and like you, or because you are just a foreigner. And it can be a, you know, it can be a checkbox for them to tick off, like, yeah, I had something with a foreigner, you know, and kind of brag to their friends. I would say, though, that the more you, I wouldn't say practice, but the more experience you have, the better you'll get at distinguishing these things. So, next point, there is a big bias towards romantic atmosphere everywhere. So I know that maybe a lot of us, when we think about, you know, going to South Korea, we have this K-drama dream in our minds. And people will tell you that K-dramas are not real, which is true. I mean, yeah, it's not like living in South Korea is a K-drama. But also, I would say there is some truth to the fact that you will feel like in a K-drama because the whole culture is really focused on emphasizing love and couples. And, you know, I mean, there are holidays like Christmas and New Year, which are basically like exclusively couple holidays, you know, which is just not the case in Western countries. So I would say you will definitely feel like a main character sometimes. There's actually one short story I wanted to share. on this topic. There was one time I was going on the subway somewhere. I was standing, and there was a grandma, I think, sitting on one of those seats that are like assigned for the elderly. And there was also a guy from the army, like he was dressed in the army uniform, obviously Korean, and he was sitting next to her. And then like we had kind of like exchanged glances a few times. I don't know, maybe it was all just in my head and I was just looking at him because I thought, oh, it was so cool, a guy from the army. And then the grandma who was next to him motioned for me to come and sit next to him. And I just like politely told her like, oh no, I'm okay. But I remember that was like a very main character moment for me. She was essentially trying to act like a wing woman to him, you know. So those kind of things do happen there. This one is weird. I still don't really, well, no, I do know why that's the case, but I think it is kind of like, it is definitely something you notice when you're there. Which is that it's way harder to find deodorant. I believe that's the case because a lot of Korean people just don't sweat as much. They don't have as much body odor. So therefore the demand is lower. You can still find them even in like convenience stores, but I remember only ever them being sold in like small cans. Like I was never able to find like a full-size can of like sprayable deodorant. So that was also interesting. So if you want and you're visiting, come stocked up on your deodorant. Next thing, I mean, I think this is also a pretty wide known thing, but it's so safe there. I mean, safe to the point that like it takes you a while to kind of understand that, like get used to it and understand that, like, okay, this is, everybody's doing it here. It's fine. You're not like being irresponsible in the sense that like you can just, if you're working out of a cafe, you can just leave everything, like your bag with your wallet, your phone, your laptop, everything, you can leave it on the table and it will always be there when you get back. This is honestly one of my favorite things about Korea. I wish everywhere were like this, and it makes me sad that not everywhere is like this. This is another thing. I feel like I am in the second half of my 20s now. And I feel like once you reach this age, if you're still interested in Korean culture, Korean music and so on, you can feel kind of like, oh, why are all the people who are interested in this thing like so young? Like for me, at least where I live, I know that the vast majority of people who are still interested in K-pop are like young teens, you know. So it does make you feel kind of weird. And that's a really awesome thing about being in Korea, is that there, everybody likes K-pop to an extent because it's just such a big part of their culture, and you don't feel weird for like being in your late 20s, your 30s, even older, and you know, liking some group or some performers. I'm so sad it's over. And this is the last thing I'll finish on, which is the concept of trends is on a whole different level there. Trends are, I think, everywhere, of course, but there, everybody follows them. Like, maybe not everybody, but the absolute vast majority of people follow trends. And if you don't follow trends, then you kind of feel weird. And I think that also kind of, goes into the whole aspect of that Korea is such a homogenous society. So you want to appear like you are on top of your game and you know what are the new hottest items and you have them and you own them and you can kind of like show it off. So in that aspect, it does make sense. But I think it can be, especially if you're not used to that, if you didn't grow up in that kind of dynamic, I think it can be a little bit weird. But I do want to say that, like, that's, I think, a really great thing about going to South Korea as a foreigner is that you are exempt from a lot of the rules that generally will apply to Koreans. Because you're not a Korean, you don't look like a Korean, you will not have the same expectations placed on you. And I think that's a really great thing as a foreigner. Because no one's gonna, let's say, judge you or look down on you or think weird of you if you don't follow all the Korean top trends. And I do also want to mention that at the time that I went, I did speak Korean like a little bit, but I certainly was not fluent by any means. I spoke like the very, very basics. And the answer is yes, you can totally survive in Korea doing that. I mean, just like anywhere, your quality of life will be better if you speak the local language, but it is possible. And you can always learn. And you will learn, of course, by living in the country where they speak that language. So yeah, if you have any, like if you would like to hear some specific, stories or some story times, or if you have any specific questions about, what it was like to be in Korea, I'll be happy to share. So you can just write it in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. And I will also try to be posting more regularly. Now, I really want to, get back into the groove of things. So I hope you enjoyed this mukbang. If you have requests for me to try something else or eat something else with you guys, then let me know and I'll be sure to do it. And I wish you all a beautiful day. Thank you. Bye.